Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the new Audi Q8, the long-awaited answer to BMW X6 and Mercedes GLE Coupe. But Audi took a different approach. Yes, the car is more elegant and a bit more dynamic than the Q7, but most of all it is more luxurious, closer to the A8 than to the Q7, especially if you look at it from the interior. If you want to know how good chances are this is going to be the real SUV flagship of the Audi brand, join me on my test drive and I'll tell you more about it. The Audi Q8 uses the same engines as we know them from the A8, means mainly 3-liter V6 engines. For the rest of the world, it's mainly a 3-liter V6 petrol engine starting with 340 horsepower. For Europe, it's the 3-liter V6 diesel with 286 horsepower, both capable of almost 250 kilometers per hour and definitely not the end of the line. There will be smaller engines for some export markets like China. There will be an Q8S with more power, I guess almost 500 horsepower, and at least theoretically there will also be a plug-in hybrid. Since it's available in the Q7, there is no reason not to build it in the Q8. Driving the Q8 feels surprisingly different than with the Q7, for example. Yes, it's a big and it's a heavy car, but it feels way more agile than its standard sister model. And that's not only due to the slightly adjusted seating position, it's more due to the different setup for the steering, which is very precise and very direct, due to the rear wheel steering and to a suspension system that actively provides tilting of the vehicle when you go through fast corners. So yes, again, it's a big and a heavy car, but it feels almost nimble and is very agile and good to handle. There's another reason why the Q8 has an 8 in its name. Not only because it sits above the Q7 and is the flagship of the Q range. No, there's also a technological reason, because this car has really lots of carryover parts from the A8, the flagship sedan of the Lord of the Rings. And you realize that especially when you look to the interior. We have that brand new fancy cockpit without almost any buttons. There's only the start-stop button, 2 buttons for parking and for activating all the driver assistance systems, and the volume for the infotainment. That's it. Everything else is done by the 2 touchscreens that give me a wonderful haptical feedback when I touch the certain icons. So it's not only touching and hoping you hit. No, once you hit it, you get a little vibrating in your fingertips and you know you're right. Everywhere else we have small sensors, sensor buttons, no hard keys, only where it's really necessary and where we're used to it, in the doors for example. And for sure, the cluster is digital as well. This is the car for the generation iPhone and not for the old guys anymore. Q8 does not only use the interior of the A8 and the engines of the A8, it also uses the intelligence of the A8. Means all the driver assistance systems that you have in the flagship sedan are also available in the flagship SUV. Yes, the car is fun to drive, but once you're on the motorway, you can easily use the Drive Pilot that almost does the work for you alone. It keeps the distance, it keeps the lane, and you just have to leave your hands on the steering to show the car that you're around. You can do automated parking, you have all the alerts and assists to make driving with a car as big as that really easy. Design-wise, the Q8 is a totally new car with not many sheet metal parts similar to the Q7. While Mercedes and BMW just gave their SUV coupes a different back, Audi has dressed the Q8 completely new. We got a new grille, we got a wider side with sexy hips, and yes, we got the lower roofline and a spectacular back looking like a bit of a yacht more than a car. The Q8 might not look as sexy as a BMW X6 and not as sporty as a Mercedes GLE Coupe. But once you sit in the car, especially in the second row, you really will like the decent shaping of the vehicle. Not only that you have enough headroom for the first time ever, you also got enough leg room in the second row. And that's not all. You can also adjust the legroom, while you can slide the rear bench for about 20 centimeters. Now I'm in the middle. I can go 10 centimeters forward to increase the trunk space, or I can go 20 centimeters back and sit as comfortable as in a luxury limousine. There's a reason why this car is called Q8, like in the flagship sedan. Thank you for joining me on that first test drive with the new Audi Q8, a car we really had to wait for a long time. But Audi has taken a different approach than BMW and Mercedes. Audi has proven big can really be beautiful. A coupe can be flexible, roomy and versatile, and a car of more than 2.5 tons could drive pretty sporty. So I would say it was worth the wait. Thank you, tschüss and bye-bye.